episode 704 of the WCB podcast. Thank you for tuning in. This weekend, we are going to be at the Open Season Sportsman's Expo in Columbus, Ohio. That is March 14th through the 16th, 2025. We will be booth 123. Come see us and hang out, have all sorts of goodies, and hopefully drink a beer with you and talk hunting. We'll be there. The podcast is, I think that's the only announcement I got. The podcast is brought to you by Grizzly Coolers, always on the hunt. We're talking hunting blinds. We're talking water troughs. We're talking drinkware. We're talking coolers, of course. Check out Grizzly. Support them, an Iowa-based company. Great people over there, and we're glad to be just working with them on a top-tier level. Very thankful for that opportunity. This podcast was a lot of fun. Had Tyler and Brian in, great dudes. Pretty cool for me growing up like a Realtree kid and kind of watching everything Realtree based and growing up. So it was pretty awesome to have him here and just to hang out. And he's an awesome guy, and thankful that they came up from Georgia to do the podcast. Pretty nuts. Hard to believe sometimes. So yeah, show them some love. I appreciate them coming up. Let's get to the biz. The podcast is brought to you by Big Time. Code WCB 2025. Frost seeding is probably what you need to still be thinking about, and any spring plots. And it never hurts to start mapping out fall plots now, because if you're like me, you're always behind. And it's just one more thing on the to-do list with no extra time. So get ahead of it. Code WCB 2025. BigTime.com. Huntworth Gear. Huntworth Camouflage. Vertec is an awesome pattern. I can't wait to rock Vertec in the spring turkey woods. Huntworth at huntworthgear.com also has a Huntworth system builder where you can shop by season and piece together garment by garment what you want to make it work for you. I've actually been wearing a mix of Tarnin and Vertec that you'll see on when our Unhinged video series comes out. First episode is going to launch in June. You'll see I've been kind of blending the camos, and it does a really great job. And it's actually kind of hard to tell when you see them together. But anyway, Huntworth Gear, code WCB15. Loophole Optics is also a partner of the podcast. We're very thankful for that. I look at Loophole as being a top high-end brand, and for them to work with some morons like us from the Midwest, that's pretty cool. There's a bunch of new spotters out, the SX4 Pro guides. There's a bunch out. I just got a straight version of one so I could do like truck scouting. I always had the angled versions of spotters in the past. I'm like, man, I want a straight one so I can rock it off the side-by-side and do some fun truck scouting, especially when you go out west if you're going to do antelope or anything like that. So check out Loophole. Performance eyewear, spotting scopes, binos, rangefinders, of course. They got you covered for all that. Necessary items for bow hunting. Trophy Line. Trophy Line has the Hyperlight platform, the Hyperlight series sticks. They have a bunch of great tree saddle kits that you can get into. The Nimbus, $339.99 gets you into a Nimbus saddle kit. Man, I can't talk. And you can get really whatever saddle kit fits your budget. The Venatic is what I run and or have been running. I'm probably going to run. I think I'm going to run the Nimbus this year. I don't know. I'll play around with them all. I like them all. It's kind of fun to mess around with. Hoyt is a partner of the podcast. I personally am shooting the RX9 Ultra. I love it, and I've already shot quite a few critters with it, and I'm excited to. It's one of them bows that motivates me to keep shooting, and that's what's important no matter what brand you choose. We're with Hoyt, and we got a Hoyt sign in the studio now, and we're very proud. We're very excited for that. So shout out to Hoyt for jumping on board, and shout out for Evolution Outdoors with their releases and their broadheads for jumping on board with us and taking a chance. And AAE, Arizona Archery Enterprise, accessories, vanes, the Prophecy Drop Away Rest, all good stuff all around. The new partners there involved. Novix Tree Stands is not a new partner. They've been a partner with us for years, and we've killed a lot of animals out of Novix products, and we're proud to have that. They're based out of Ohio, so a lot of Novix fans at the Ohio Deer Classic, so it's always fun to see. Victory Arrows, constantly run those. I'm still running Rip TKOs right now. We'll see what I end up kind of jumping to. I don't know. I'm going to play around. They got some new arrows that are pretty intriguing. Dialed archery, our favorite in single pin sights. I think the most attractive single pin sight is that new dialed proof. It's hard to argue with. It's just a damn good looking setup. Check out Dialed Working Class, saves you free shipping. Blackgate trail cameras, the R4G, code WCB10 will save you some money. Black Ovis, our code works on anything, sponsored product or not, code WCB. Aluma trailers, aluminum welded construction, made in Iowa. I'm very excited to get the Ranger out on the Aluma and get some food plots in and some frost seed and some shed hunting done here in the next, I should be doing the next couple weeks. Show's got us busy. Old Barn Taxidermy, Deer Cast, Rogue Ridge e-bikes, Rack Hub, RH1 and RH2s for your sheds, and Mountain Ops, code WCB. Had to get through those quick. I try to avoid burning you guys out on that stuff, but we got to do it. And the fun thing is, every partner we have is a separate category of a product we actually want to use. I'll tell you, if you ever doubted us, and if you listen to all the ads, then you know, I think, because it's the way we can talk about it. But if you ever see me not using something, it'd be so rare, it'd be silly. But these are all brands we'd want to work with. And if we weren't working with them, we'd probably be using all their shit anyway. So, and that's honest. And if you don't believe me, you don't have to. That's fine. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode 704 with Tyler and Brian from Realtree. Enjoy it.
Hey everybody, this is Mark Drury with Drury Outdoors.
Hey all you deer hunters, this is Jimmy John.
This is Jared Mills.
Hey everybody, this is Caitlin Moss.
Hey guys, this is Jared Scheffler from Whitetail Adrenaline.
What's up guys, Josh Sparks from Midwest Whitetail.
Hey, this is Nick Mutt from Bone Collector.
This is Chancey Walters.
Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast.
Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast.
WCB.
Working Class Bow Hunter. Working Class Bow Hunter. You're listening to the Working Class Bow Hunter. That's right, this is the podcast for Billy Joe Lunchbucket, the working man, just like me and you. My name's Travis T-Bone Turner from the Bone Collector. Thank you for tuning in.
Those people on that pod, those hosts are a little unhinged.
Working Class. Working Class. Working Class Bow Hunter.
You're listening to my buddies on Working Class Bow Hunter.
Best motherfucking podcast on the planet.
Man, Josh Sparks loves his part of the intro.
He does. He does.
I don't think Josh Sparks knew we were going to use that, actually. I think he sent us a joke, and we
Absolutely not.
So,
There was actually a full discussion about definitely not going to use that, right?
No, we won't use it. It's episode 704 of the WCB podcast, and we did use the part.
We definitely
Josh's
used
intro.
it.
Good.
Kurt Geyer is speaking right now.
Eric Hammond.
Doug Schmidt.
Josh Sparks,
You're filling in for everybody else. You're co-hosting.
just the backup.
Yeah, you do a good job, dude. You look good.
Thanks.
You do a good job. You're killing it.
Thanks, man.
Talk highly of yourself, you know?
He is killing it.
He is. Tyler Jordan is how we say it in the Midwest.
Jordan.
That was one question I want to get into because everybody in the Midwest says Jordan.
I think everybody says Jordan, but just where we're at.
Okay.
So there's a Jordan Waddell. That's his last name. A good buddy of mine, but it goes by Jordan. There's a Jordan High School, not related to us, where we're from in Columbus, but I feel like it really is like only that Phoenix City, Columbus, Georgia, right there where you say Jordan. I don't know. Do y'all know any other Jordans?
No, never heard it.
I don't even know how to spell that.
I feel like it's the number one thing we get asked about.
Yeah, so I didn't mean to mess up your intro there, but we'll get back to it. So,
Tyler Jordan.
Brian Brown.
thank you guys for being here. Appreciate the effort coming in and flying into us. This has been a long time coming for this podcast, so I appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. This is
coming.
awesome.
We gave them the depot experience.
Finally.
What do you think?
I've been wanting to go to the depot.
Okay.
Every time I watch these episodes, everybody talks about the depot, so I was wanting to see it.
Yeah.
Michael told me about it too when he went on here. He said the depot's awesome.
Yeah.
So it lived up to the.
Yeah, it's
Good.
legit. It's that food that sticks to your ribs.
Yep.
Hunting season food, I call it.
It is. Totally.
We have a lot of that in
A
Jordan.
lot of that. Yeah, you can just smell the fried food like from 2 blocks away.
It does have, anytime we have somebody from the South End, which has been quite a bit in the last year, we've had a lot of Southern based guys, and it's got street cred with the Southern boys over there for sure. So But no, one, I appreciate you listening, Tyler. I know we talked quite a bit over the last, I don't know how long, couple of years or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that you actually do listen. And I know you do because of things you say. And I'm like, he's not just telling me that to like make me feel cool.
No, I really don't. No, I mean, I feel like, I know this is probably not what you want me to say, but I feel like you guys, when I first met you, I think in Nashville, I was like, man, I knew right off the bat.
In person,
like,
yeah.
In person, I said, these guys are who they are on the podcast and what they portray. I didn't even hesitate. I was like, who they are on this podcast, I didn't expect anything differently. So
yeah, thank you.
Been a huge fan for years.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Well, we've been a huge fan of your guys' for a long time.
Our whole lives.
And I mean,
Pretty much.
that's
Right.
Actually, our whole hunting lives for sure. Especially like the legacy that you're from and all that. And I want to get into some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But for the record, I went through a stint where I was like, oh yeah, Bill Jordan, Tyler Jordan. I would say it that way. Yeah. And I felt like, you ever been to a Mexican restaurant and someone orders something off the menu and they say it with the Spanish flair and you look at them, you're like, just stop.
Yeah.
Just order the enchiladas. Yeah. Don't say it like you're trying to like relate. That's how I felt when I said Jordan. So I just embraced my Midwest, be like, yeah, Tyler Jordan's here. Does that make sense?
No, it like whenever I go to like a restaurant, whether it's like in the Midwest or anywhere other than home, I say Jordan.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Everybody
like anytime, like if you're talking to a customer service representative
Yeah.
or something, you say Jordan.
I'm not making a point. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like I just, because every time I feel like I say Jordan, you go, how do you spell that?
Yeah.
You got to put a little Jordan.
J-E-R.
J-E-R.
Jordan.
Yeah,
it's Jordan. Okay, so exactly how it sounds.
How it sounds. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I kind of relate. My last name is spelled, it's G-E-I-E-R, and people can't say it.
Yeah.
Geyer. I just sometimes wish it was spelled G-U-Y-E-R.
Right.
And then I can move on with my life.
Yeah, it does annoy me from time to time, but I just learned to live with it and embrace it.
Well, I don't think you understand the record straight that we just made throughout the Midwest of listeners that didn't even know that or had heard you guys say it. All right. Not a big deal to you. I'm moving on from that. I just thought it was funny. He's like, look, yeah, all right. That's my name.
That's my name.
So anyway, man, I think a lot to talk about, a lot of fun stuff. First off, I've been a massive fan, and I think our listeners know because a lot of them have sent me old VHS and memorabilia. Big Monster Bucks fan, been a big Realtree fan my whole hunting childhood, since I was 10 at least. Because I remember circling, like I told you, in the Pomaida catalog down in Watseka, Illinois, the 10th anniversary of Monster Bucks. That's what I wanted for Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
And it's kind of crazy too, like some of that vintage stuff, I feel like in our space, I'm sure it's other markets as well, but it seems like we talked about it at dinner tonight, but it's funny to me like how some of the vintage, the Team Realtree brand, we started launching some of that just a couple of years ago, but now it's like Team Realtree is our #1 selling hat on Realtree.com.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And then like Realtree Original, Brian I've been a big advocate for the original pattern, but whenever we bring that back in anything we do, right now it's kind of been limited to what we offer on Realtree.com. We offer it through just a couple of partners, but I would say it's probably the #1 asked about pattern. And so it's just wild to me that, that old stuff, like my brother kind of said this to me the other day. He's like, the old school pattern to me is new. Like it's
Right.
Yeah.
It was, he didn't grow up in that era. So like, it's cool for them. Like
It's trendy.
to see that it's trendy right now. Just like the shirts that we're kind of.
Well, it's the young kids. It's new to them. But like when you go to the Great American Outdoor Show and you have the older guys come up to you, well, that's what they started hunting in.
Yeah.
Well, you probably still see a lot of jackets that they just haven't quit wearing for 32 years
Exactly.
or longer,
And the cool thing for me is like, it's what I was taking over some of my dad's old gear. So it's kind of what I grew up in. So it kind of takes you back in time, and it's just it's just kind of special.
And that's how it is too. Like growing up, my dad was a big hunter. When he was growing up, my whole childhood, that's all he wore was Realtree.
Yeah.
He still has some of the old shirts just like that. And it's funny. I need to break them out and
well,
bust them out of his closet.
why is it coming back, like the retro stuff? It's cool. We all think it's cool because we all remember it because we were kids. But why with kids that are kids now, that doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying? Why is it trendy again? What do you think it is from your perspective? Being so in the camo game.
Yeah, I think, my opinion is like you have, and this is not a bad thing, but you have all these other camo brands or hunting brands in the industry that maybe a higher price point item. There's several brands out there that offer that now, which is great. But I think, for the consumer, they look at that when you buy an expensive item, it's like, oh, I'm authentic. Like it kind of buys you authenticity. And I kind of view the legacy patterns in the same way. Like, this pattern's as old as time. It's older than me. And you kind of buy authenticity, but it's in a different light.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I get that.
Well, I think too, everything vintage is in right now.
It is, but I didn't really realize it until we were at NWTF, and there was that guy who had that vintage, what was it?
Camo Retro or whatever.
Retro.
Yeah.
That was like,
they're
Took all our money.
well, that blew me away. Yeah.
It's impressive how much old stuff he has. Like, I'm kicking myself because, like, when I grew up, we were wearing all that, the original shirts, and then like the Under Armours and, scent blockers and scent lock came along. So we just got rid of all the old stuff.
Yeah.
Because the new, stuff was cool. And now I'm like, man, if we would have just held on to that stuff, is freaking cool.
I mean, we were there every morning before the show opened to see what new stuff they put out. Cause we're like, oh, we got to see what
be
they
the
got.
first one. Yeah. Be the first one there.
So he's had, I know Logan, who runs that, he's had 8 years in a row now, just year over year growth. So like it's just a trendy marketplace for people to share and sell camo. And I got this shirt from Camo Retro over the weekend at NWTF.
Same.
Josh got
right
it
here.
there.
Yeah.
Kurt got the most badass windbreaker there.
Like easy.
Terrell.
It says Terrell on it, and it's all embroidered on the back. Whoever Terrell was,
spent a lot of money
Had
on
been
that
a
back
big
in the
deer
day.
killer.
I don't know how he got that jacket, but it's pretty badass. But
Yeah, when I see that pattern right there, like it just brings back, and I'm, for people around our age, their upper 20s, 30s, like I killed my first 3 turkeys in that pattern. And so like it just brings back a memory that, you can't replace. Like my first memories with my dad in the woods is wearing that camo. And I think for me, like, I think it's one of the better looking patterns, but like when I think about it, I think about my dad.
yeah.
Have that pattern.
Okay, so this is a good transition because there's some things I've learned. Like, all right, our Jordan's out sick. Shout out to Jordan. Jordan's 21 years old.
Yep.
He's 21. Jordan didn't grow up in the Team Realtree hat, Monster Buck era like we did. I wanted that damn hat so bad. I wanted to be on Monster Bucks more than anything, right? Jordan doesn't get that because he was, he's young.
He doesn't even know what a VHS is.
So, but it's funny because he's still in tune enough and into hunting enough. He knows who you guys are. He knows Michael Waddell. He knows Mark Drury. He knows like the TV guys that were king of the world when we were kids. He does know them guys, but there's a lot of kids that kind of missed that, and they're into Seek One and Chris B, and their YouTube is like what our Monster Bucks was. It's like they still are aware, I think, but it's a little different. If someone was like, they tune on this podcast and they're a younger guy, and I'm like, who's Tyler Jordan? And I had to be like, just who are you? What do you do? For the people that are so out of touch of the hunting realm, I think that's a fun place to start.
Okay.
And then really kick in from there.
Okay. So, I mean, I feel like I've kind of been a part of this company. I started hunting with my dad when he first launched Realtree back in 1986. I was born in 92. I've been hunting with him since I was 3 years old, going with him in the woods, turkey hunting. That's kind of where I cut my teeth and got my start hunting. Grew up, big into the outdoors, killed my first deer when I was 9, shot my first turkey when I was 8. And so always grown up in and around the business. And I feel like, TNN, obviously really big back then. That's the only place you could really watch outdoor television was TNN. ESPN, I think, came shortly after that. There were a few shows like Larry Wassoon, Tom Miranda. But I went to school at Ole Miss. My dad played football there as well back in the 60s and 70s. And then kind of ever since school, got a marketing degree, moved back home, and I've just been involved in the business ever since. Do a little bit of hosting on Realtree road trips with Brian, have done some of the Realtree outdoor stuff on Outdoor Channel with my dad and David. But really, I feel like my day-to-day now, it's really involved inside that business in the building. My dad's a little bit older, still in really good shape at the office every single day. But, I'm just trying to take that next step in growth inside the company. So developing patterns, marketing strategy, figuring out what the next 20 to 30 years look like inside of there. So I would say it's a little bit of the content side, but having a family now, having a daughter, it kind of shifts your priority just a little bit.
For sure.
So family kind of, has changed some of that. But as I look, my dad's not getting any younger. And, what does the future look like at Realtree? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So
yeah,
been a fun ride.
I think it's cool that you have dove into that and you want to continue the legacy of what Realtree is. Cause I think we all know the story of the boss's son who didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And then people from the outside are like,
I'd kill to be in that position.
Yeah, that's something you would grit down and so I think that's a refreshing perspective. I think from my perspective, from our perspective, and probably most people listening, because it's not like when you grow up, Realtree was a special thing because it's your first pattern, what you get, whatever camo pattern you start, it's the Ford Chevy type thing, but whatever you're with, you kind of always carry that with you. And that's where you're I don't know. I look at my old crew neck sweatshirts that I have in Realtree HD, whatever year that came out. And I'd love to talk about the timeline of some of the patterns and stuff, but I just think it's cool that you're doing what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm super blessed. I mean, I've got to meet a lot of really cool people through this industry, but more than anything, more than what it's brought us, as a family, is just the friendships and relationships. We talked about it a little bit at dinner tonight, the people I've met along the way, and not just people that are famous in different markets. My best friends, like Brian, Johnny Carter at the office, everybody inside that building, Realtree is what has brought us all together as a family. So it's really changed my life, and I'm hoping that it's something we can, hopefully continue for another 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's what is in what's in store for the future? Because you think back 86, what was camo before 1986?
So it was all, back then it was all pretty much Kmart and Walmart just had military style camo.
Army
That's
surplus
all it was.
look.
Army surplus look. There was really nothing else. And I would also say tree bark at the time. I don't know what year tree bark was launched, but Jim Crumley at Tree Bark, that was really the only camo game in town.
That was the brand, Tree Bark.
Tree Bark was the brand. I don't, I'm not really sure where all Tree Bark was carried. I think a lot of it, they were cutting and sewing kind of themselves, like Dad started to do in the early days. But Tree Bark was really, I think, it. You may know.
Yeah, it seems like that's all there was back in that day.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it's not that long ago.
It's not.
Yeah,
and Ryan's been around forever.
Are we just getting old now and now we're saying that? But 1990, 85 to 90, I was born in 90.
I was born in 90.
It's I've always known camo to be camo.
Yeah.
And to think you start hunting, you're just out there in Army surplus. You're looking you're, I always joke around and say you look like you're trespassing for mushrooms. That's what everybody wears.
Yeah, that's true.
With Marble Reds. That's a key factor in mushroom trespassing success is Marble Reds, Army surplus camo pants. But it's just kind of crazy. It seems like it'd be something that was the 70s or the late 60s we had these patterns. And you know what I mean? Kind of.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No,
My
it
scale
does.
of it?
Well, it seems like it was that. You had the Army camo, the Tree Bark, and then the duck camo.
The duck
Seems
camo.
like I remember my granddad having full coveralls. And
The blotchy.
the
You'd
blotchy.
be surprised at all the people that come up now asking for full coveralls. It's man, I don't know anybody that makes a full coverall, but yeah,
Right.
it was kind of those three type. And
You would think Vietnam
yeah,
would have, all right, maybe a little dark, but you think the war in Vietnam would have you know what I'm saying here? Kind of
Not really.
engineered a good pattern.
Right.
Okay.
For the-
Yeah, all right, there it is.
Okay, sorry, I stuttered a little bit. Wasn't a good. It was an awkward pause, right? Or my bad. Or there's humor in the pauses. But you know what I mean? Forrest Gump could have had a pattern.
Oh, he definitely could have made one for
Gump
sure.
camo.
Yeah, and I think
it kind of was like flannel, before
Flannel.
anything,
That's what I was going to say.
flannel,
Before that was flannel.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? That sounds way off the wall what I said. But you'd think war
out of necessity
would have made patterns early.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've never really thought about it like that, but I think
maybe that's what your dad started.
I would love to get Dad in here sometime and really go through what the history looked like then and what sparked him to do this. I think for him it was, he saw everything he was buying from Walmart, Kmart, and he was like, man, we can do this so much better.
Right.
And that's, I think, when he drew the first 3 patterns he drew those. So you have Realtree, which we call it Realtree Original now, just original Realtree at the time.
That's the pattern Brian's wearing.
That's
if
what
you're watching
Brian's wearing.
Yep.
And then brown leaf was the very next one. And so that was, this is a little bit more gray. It's brown, had leaves in it, put limbs over it.
Is that what you're wearing?
No, this would have been, this was the last pattern he drew. This was extra gray.
Gotcha.
So brown leaf came after Realtree Original.
That's correct.
And then
this is extra gray. He drew this. And this would have been 91, I think, is when this came to market. This was a few years. And then what Josh is wearing is Advantage Classic. That would have been 94. And to me, I feel like that was the first pattern that was digitally done, digitally printed on a computer. So he would work with a design team and do it on a computer, which is how we do all patterns today.
In 94, what'd that computer look like?
Yeah.
The size of this room.
I was negative 2 years old.
Every time you
four.
place the leaf, you got to wait 5 hours.
Yeah.
For it to figure it out.
yeah, that
Just like sit there and slowly loaded the leaf.
Oh, there it is.
that's a crazy concept. Well, like going from drawing patterns, like because you look at that pattern, it looks
really good.
It looks good.
Yeah.
For a sketch.
Hell of an artist.
It's kind of crazy. And then I think, when that pattern came to market, he credits Advantage Classic for really, I think, separating Realtree from whatever there was with camouflage at the time. He views that pattern as like the first big success.
right.
So I think he started at 86. He's like, man, I really didn't start to make a profit till 93, 94, which is kind of crazy. I mean, just kind of, developing patterns and hoping one was really going to stick in a big way. And that was kind of the big boom, I think, for Realtree back in 94.
Right. So when I see that, like when you talk about two drawn patterns, you guys are sitting next to each other with those. All right. How much of the pattern do you need to draw to make it a usable pattern? Does that make sense? Like, like what was the scale that,
When can you start repeating it?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, was it
The
like
size of this
tables
table?
worth? Yeah. Like
That's a good question.
that would just be curious.
We'll have to get him on here to talk about it.
He's gonna be like, nah, I was on a napkin. What are you talking about?
So
It's the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
so this pattern right here, he traced in his mother's backyard.
Really?
And so that was the very first one.
Literally take a piece of paper on a tree and just
Yes. And
no kidding.
And just, he kind of traced it and drew it.
So which
colored
pattern
it.
was it where we did a piece? We did a video piece to where was it Edge? When Edge came out, we did a piece to where we filmed a deal on the original tree. And this is like just a few years ago. So we went to the original tree that he sketched the pattern on in his mom's old front yard.
Yeah.
The real tree.
The same
The
exact
real
tree.
tree.
Yeah. I live just right down the street from that house. Which
Like
is
a
pretty
big
cool.
white oak?
And the tree's still there, big white oak.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one big white oak in the middle of this backyard.
And being at Realtree and seeing his creativity, like it makes sense that he was doing this 30 years ago because his brain never stops thinking about the next pattern and the next best effectiveness, and so it's so cool to see kind of the way his brain works. He never stops thinking about it.
He's an ultimate perfectionist.
For sure.
And sometimes it drives us all nuts because as we start to think like, okay, we're done with this pattern, right, Dad? And he's like, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go try something again with it. And, we end up going back to the drawing board and
like he'll tap back into a pre-existing pattern and make changes.
Well, like with
coloration
with
and
APX, I would tell you the latest one we just dropped, Edge was the same way. That pattern took about 4 years of development.
Oh, 4 years.
And I would, Dad is, I think, a little bit a perfectionist to the extreme. He likes to take patterns like that and put them in different environments and test them in different parts of the country, whether it be, even though maybe a lot of people don't use it out west, he wants to go see what it looks like out west.
A lot
southeast.
more than people realize that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wants to take a ton of pictures and see what it looks like in different lights of day, what it looks like on the ground floor for turkey hunting. And we spend a ton of time going through all that because the pattern's all purpose, APX. And so he's like, man, it needs to work, at best at all times, whether you're turkey, deer hunting, whatever it is. If you take it out west, we have confidence it's going to, be a versatile pattern for everybody.
Right.
That's awesome.
Sorry, we just skipped like 20 years.
Yeah.
Original.
I think that's what we talked about it at dinner, but I think that's why when he sees patterns like this come back in style, even though like that's what I want to wear Advantage Classic, it drives him a little bit nuts because he's like, man, we've done so much better.
I get that.
And now this is coming back.
Yeah.
I do get it from his perspective, like, but I think I totally get it.
He's
what
like,
he's
this
saying.
took 4 years. That took 4 hours.
Yeah. But to me, I think he needs to look at it, and I'm sure you've told him, it's like, no, like they're honoring your work over a timeline. Like you don't just, it's cool that just is not forgot about, or that pattern's not just forgot about. And it's cool that people are like appreciating like what the lineage is. Because this camo, no matter what camo, whoever's listening, no matter what camo you run, this is the start of the pattern you're wearing now.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
the
modern
start of
pattern. No
camo.
matter what brand, this is where it's pioneered from.
Yeah.
Is from 1986.
And I think
Crazy.
the simplicity factor of these patterns too. Like APX has 13 different colors in it. I think that has 5. That one may have like 6 or 7. Like, you know, people are going back for that more simple coloration, that you know,
Right.
just vintage look, and that's kind of what that is with less colors. So it's just in right now. I think he looks at that and he's like, man, it's just not all purpose. It's not effective for everything I want it to be effective for. But
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
Let them wear it for lifestyle wear then. You know, there's a whole thing.
Well, that's the thing.
Let 'em
like,
do both if they
people
want it.
can wear this, you know, out to dinner, wear it to, you know, a convention show or whatever, and it's just
Yeah.
You
it's
look
cool,
good.
It looks good. Yeah.
Nowadays, I think it's kind of a flex to your old cool shirt pattern you got. Like, Josh is looking pretty stylish.
Yeah.
He does look
Better
good.
for what it cost me.
What-
Camo Retro is doing well.
It is expensive.
Yeah, it gotta be.
Does he ever have any full coveralls?
Oh yeah.
Does he?
Man, I buy so many coveralls on eBay.
Really?
Do you
Oh
really?
yeah.
You're still doing
yeah.
that? You're like,
I buy vintage Realtree stuff all the time on eBay.
You need to do
Yeah,
a hunt.
no, I have a problem.
Do a hunt and a.
I would if my
I have a
wouldn't
problem.
disown me.
yeah, because you got to wear the
That's
new
true, yeah.
pattern.
Yeah.
Who wants us to wear the latest and greatest? But like I love the vintage. Like the other day I just bought and they actually had one at NWTF, but I bought one of the old brown leaf turkey vest that we did for NWTF.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
And so I just got that the other day on eBay. But it's just like, it's probably not worth much of anything, but I just like, man, it's cool because I've had so many hats, like we talked about it earlier, and shirts that I have let go.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It bugs me every day, the stuff that I've let go, just because.
You can't think about it, but
Yeah.
And Dad's
You
not
just-
one for keeping like memorabilia or stuff. And like I've tried to do a lot better job of that because I want to be able to look back at just a history. Like I remember some of the old Pro Staff hats when I was little. It's like Realtree Pro Staff and have mesh and camo on the front. And I'm like, man, what I would give to have
Yeah,
that
that'd be
today.
so cool.
yeah.
We need
totally.
to set up like a little mini museum.
No, you
just to
need
show-
you need a
show each-
studio.
Yeah.
You just fill it full of your shit. It's kind of like what we're doing.
Yeah. I need something like this.
Yeah.
does he have any of the original like drawings? Are they like framed anywhere?
Yes, we do. So we actually, for the 30th anniversary, so we're coming up on our 40th next year, but we have some original drawings and we actually made it into a print and sent it to partners for the 30th anniversary.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, some of the traces. So it's, we need to get one here for the studio. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a Realtree kid, and there's a lot of great patterns and everything,
Yeah.
and it's just cool to see. And I gotta wonder, because Realtree's everywhere, right? It's just one of them staple pioneered patterns and companies in the hunting game. No one can even debate that. Everywhere you go, you see it, and like, do you always go, oh, or are you kind of just used to that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like,
No,
oh, there's my pattern on something. There's our pattern on something.
Yeah, I observe everything.
Yeah.
You see it all. You never become like,
No.
there it
Oblivious
is.
And I don't know if that's
I
good.
notice it every single time. I mean, every time I see something in Realtree, I notice it.
But it's pretty much everywhere. So it's like, you know what I mean? I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I feel like I pay attention to everything. I mean, I can't help but see it. And that's probably not a good thing.
No, I know.
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like us when we see something WCB, you know, out in the wild. We're like,
Way broader of a fucking comparison.
hey.
I know what you're saying, but that's
Yeah. No, hold on, back up. We are nowhere near.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just
I know.
like.
But to me, it's like you could go
Yeah.
up to a dude
They're
that
like
just,
the haystack. We're the needle in the haystack.
like you could see a dude that's like never even hunted, and he's got an old Realtree. He could have that
Yes.
shirt on in a Walmart, and you could be like, "Hey, man, thanks."
I won't say anything.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm too shy to even say anything.
Well, I
But
think the crazy thing now is how big it's becoming in fashion, like women's fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all saw
I see
it,
a lot of
but
like
Talk
pants.
golf.
the Ricky Fowler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
the Ricky
we did
Fowler.
with Puma, and like
That
that,
is
all
wild.
came
Yeah.
about through Puma asking for, you know, doing something totally wild, which it was. But you know, Ricky wanted to do something with a full camo outfit, which you can say what you want. You know, it was a crazy look, but that was something that, I mean, I've grown up a golf fan, and just to see that is like, man, that is wild. You know,
Like rappers are wearing camo and stuff now, and that's like trendy. Didn't Drake have like a full blown like Realtree thing on one time or something like that?
And so Drake has had a ton of Realtree. I'm a huge Drake fan.
Yeah,
but
so you don't like Kendrick Lamar?
No, I don't. I really don't.
He didn't watch the
He's got
halftime
beef.
show.
He's got beef.
Yeah, I got beef.
You got real beef with K Dot.
But yeah, like Lil Wayne, I remember he went on like First Take. This has been, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, but wore a full Realtree extra suit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, what a weird, like how crazy is the crossover? I mean, it's awesome.
yeah.
But I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know, some of that I can't explain. It's nothing we seek out.
So is that something he had made, or do you have to like reach out?
I'm assuming that he either got that from like a licensee, like a Carhartt or like a Walls or somebody like that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's anything that they've made, but you do kind of like, I'm like, why is it culturally fashionable? And it's nothing we can explain. It's nothing we are purposefully trying to like go and capture. It's just,
yeah,
I think it just shows how cool it is.
Right?
Yeah, you can't capture that. It just
happens.
It just happens.
You can't make that happen.
No,
you can't. It's like I could totally see Kanye wearing Realtree just randomly as hell with a store next to his swastika t-shirts. Have you seen that? Dude, he's lost his mind.
Dude, he lost his mind.
Do you see that?
Time
He's
ago.
selling shirts with swastikas on. The dude's insane.
Well, we were we were in a lawsuit with Kanye.
You were?
Yeah.
Over what? Can you talk about it?
No, but you can Google it. So I mean,
no, you can Google it.
I'm not going to Google it right now.
If you can type in Jordan Realtree Kanye, like you'll see it. But he knocked off a ton of Realtree.
Oh, he like
Really?
did his pattern
He
or
did
something?
it. He did our pattern and just took the logo out of it.
Oh, no kidding.
And Kim Kardashian, Kanye, they had a whole line on the Easy stuff. And so, yeah, they took our logos out.
How the hell would they think that they could do that?
You just need to go read it. Like
Okay, I will.
he made some comments about it. I'd probably would be best for me not to even talk about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
He made some comments
fair
that like probably wouldn't surprise you.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, the dude's
Oh, we're
clearly
looking this
insane.
up later.
Okay. Moving on. Sorry about the Kanye thing. I didn't know
The
that.
Ricky Fowler though was. I saw
Ricky
that. I
Fowler
was
thing
like,
was awesome.
holy shit.
Drake's pretty sick, though.
Ricky Fowler.
Did you see the
out there
Boo
golfing
Weekly?
full camo?
Did you see the post that Boo Weekly made?
No.
He was mad because
He
the
didn't get
PGA Tour, when he used to be sponsored by Realtree, they wouldn't let him wear like a camo shirt, and obviously now Ricky Fowler did it, so he's kind of upset.
I'm assuming because it's Puma that he was able to do it.
I guess
there you
so,
go,
yeah.
Drake.
There you go, Drake.
Well, that's not even.
That's not even Realtree, but
Dude, Drake's out.
he's worn it a lot over the years. I know he's done some stuff in Magellan. He's done some stuff in Realtree Timber.
I just messed that all up. Okay, well, anyway. Sorry I brought up Kanye. Hilarious, though. I have to do your own research, listeners. Okay.
It's pretty funny.
But hey, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that a random like vision from your dad that put it into reality, and now rappers are wearing it for fashion. Made it.
It is weird. I don't, and again, it's nothing that we have sought out by any means, but it is like, it's weird to see all the places it's been. I feel like if you name anything, I don't care what it is, like I bet Realtree has been on it at some point, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, it's cool.
It is cool.
It is cool.
I think it's neat. I mean, growing up as a hunter, when I was younger, I always wished I could get camo stuff that wasn't normally camo. And it's like now you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like this. I want these shirts. You know, I want these button-up shirts, and I want to wear that. That stuff's cool.
Somebody just needs to make them.
We're working on it. I'd love to bring, like, next year is our 40th anniversary, and I'd love to bring back some stuff, like whether it be from the old Spartan line or like a Team Realtree Heritage collection with hardwoods, classic, original, brown leaf. You know, I just think that stuff right now, when it's super trendy, like it has legs.
You can get that pattern off the website right now.
Yeah, we're offering some stuff in this right now.
In a pretty similar shirt. Pretty good gear.
Yeah, it's new.
Probably a better price.
In the retro stuff. Yeah, probably does.
bit.
Probably does beat it. Well, what was Spartan? I know we talked a little bit at dinner, but like I always thought Spartan. I had just a misunderstanding. I thought it was a pre-existing camo line that kind of then your dad merged with Realtree is what I always thought.
No, so Spartan was it was brought to the table at the same time back in '86. And so whenever he went to SHOT Show, I think the intention for him was to, how do I go sell this Spartan Realtree line of clothing into a Cabela's, Bass Pro, Walmart, and he also had the camo pattern that he drew on the garment as well. I think he realized that his small cut and sew in Columbus, Georgia cannot meet the demands of, a Cabela's, Bass Pro, and other big box retail stores. And so I think it was, the story's on the website, but I think Wally Switzer at the time was the buyer from Walmart. And so he said, Bill, can you make me 400,000 pair of pants, shirts with the Spartan Realtree line? And Dad's like, I can't make you 40,000 pair of pants and shirts, let alone 400,000. So it was actually him at the time that recommended, like, you need to go talk to some different companies, on the floor, whether it be a Rocky Boots, a Walls, some glove companies. You need to go figure out how to license your camo if you can't do it, because we like what you're doing on the camo side, but we've got to put a lot of clothes in our stores. So that's when licensing was born back then. And I believe Spartan stayed on with the company until about 94, 95. I mean, he just did some small cut and sew for some other places. But at the time, by that time, licensing had really grown in a big way. And so, there was really no need for Spartan. So we basically now we do sell a little bit today, like on our website, of some custom Realtree gear and current patterns, throwback patterns, some other stuff. But I would say that, 85% of what we do is all licensing based.
Yeah.
So we probably have, I think today we're a little over 1,000 licenses.
Oh, okay.
And so just all across hunting industry, non-endemic, all across the board.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because I think some people get confused with that. Like, oh yeah, because you can't just go buy a Realtree garment for like a hunting jacket, right? Like it's the pattern licensed to, or am I misunderstanding that? It could be whatever brand that has the license.
Yeah. So like
a block or a top.
So like Midwest Whitetail, they're sponsored by Taka and Banded.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a licensee of Realtree. So we have several different fabric converters that they purchase Realtree fabric from, of Legacy, Advantage Classic, APX, etc. And so they just, the licensing is built into the fabric that they purchase.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to clear that up. But dude, that's awesome. I love hearing about it. I love the old school nostalgia talk, and like anything that has to do with like the roots of how we're all here right now talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. I think it's worth talking about, because it's just the camo industry would not be where it is without Bill Jordan.
Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that.
It's true, though.
No, it's very true.
It's undeniable.
Yeah. I would like to think, probably a lot of people like Waddell, Lee and Tiffany, Ralph and Vicky. I do think a lot of them, not just Dad, but just the whole Realtree deal at the time probably gave a lot of people their start.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, that came with that, but it's like it started from your dad's thought and creativity and ambition, and then of course good things roll out from that. But like, the Monster Bucks era stuff, like it's my childhood in hunting. That's what got me to love hunting. Like honestly, and I think we should all kind of beat this down a little bit because it's important. Like, it made me want to go hunting. All the guys I hunted with were older. It was my dad and guys his age.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have like kids my age. I was into hunting. I would watch the archery tournaments on the front end of the Monster Bucks videos. And how stoked that got me to go shoot my bow, and then watching the hunts. And like, I learned how to estimate deer scores off Monster Bucks videos.
Yeah,
dude.
that's how I grew up doing it.
Like, we would go hunting in the morning. We'd come back midday, eat lunch, put the VHS that was built into the bottom of the tube TV and watch them in the old soils test lab that we hunted out of. And then we would go right back out hunting. And then I would, from being a burnout kid that didn't want to hunt anymore because I was tired and didn't see any deer, to being like, all right, now we're back in it. We're going to see that
It's
deer.
going to change.
Yeah, it's going to change now. And it honestly kept me interested and passionate in hunting.
Motivated.
Long enough to where I could like kill some deer and be like, all right, it's possible if I put my time in. And I just stayed a fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, anyone that's listening to the WCB knows that I have the largest library of hunting videos.
Yeah.
Like physical copy, VHS, and DVDs.
I still have every single one of them. Every single one of them at my house. I have every single DVD in a drawer.
I love that.
Yeah,
It probably kept a lot of us out of trouble too back in that day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where the Team Realtree hat.
Yeah.
Man, my mom toted me all over the Quad Cities trying to find a Team Realtree hat. We found one at Kmart, R.I.P. Kmart, but we found one there. Like, and it wasn't like it was like it was the B team version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Like, yeah, I guess it'll do.
I was cool enough. It was all smashed, But
we made a Team WCB one. Kind of like
like that.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool.
I still have a couple left. I'll have to send you guys
I'll
some.
have to get one of those.
The nostalgia of that.
Yeah.
That's like probably what generated the pro staff, field staff craze, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Now you don't see that from anybody. It's so funny how that's just not a trend right now. But it seems like everybody. I feel like there's a couple things on the Monster Bucks and even the TV series that kind of set Realtree apart, at least in the content stuff. And one of those places probably being the Milk River.
Yep.
I grew up.
My favorite place in the world. I mean, it's just incredible.
Like I just feel like I grew up like always wanting to go to the Milk River, even though I got to hunt a lot with my dad at home, turkey hunting, deer hunting. I was like, God, I cannot wait to go to the Milk River one day.
Yeah,
And
I
feel
dreamt
like
of that place.
That was probably the case for a lot of people back in the day.
You had Illinois and Iowa guys wanting to go to Montana.
Yeah,
That is
whitetails.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, just growing up, like my biggest thing was, I would have mom order and I don't even know how she ordered them back in that day. Like, I don't know if she called Realtree, if they, she got them off the website or catalog.
Did you guys do like infomercials for like call 1-800 whatever?
Yes.
I don't know,
Yes.
but I remember I was obsessed with Realtree road trips, and so I would watch Nick and Michael hunt those deer in the big lush alfalfa fields, and I was like obsessed with like. And I'm 10 years old. I'm like, how do we get these food plots planted in Georgia? And we're, Dad, we can't.
They say you're crazy.
Alfalfa fields.
Yeah.
And so it was, that was always the biggest memory to me, is like the huge lush alfalfa fields, hundreds of deer coming out, sometimes they went early season and, you could see a bunch of velvet deer, but yeah, that was, the Milk River's the coolest place, and being able to hunt there myself and kill a deer is like, that's what kind of
awesome.
makes it go all full circle to me.
Yeah.
Because those are my best memories growing up, watching.
All right, I got to ask. This is really rude. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm doing it anyway. How old are you?
34.
Okay, we're the same age. So, so you got to hunt the Milk River then. That's cool because you're from
Lucky.
the era of dreaming about. Because I remember talking to my dad watching. That's like my dad's bonding moments is watching Monster Bucks.
Well, I mean, too, like out here, it's because y'all get to see, y'all have big fields and y'all get to see deer and, plant big food plots. But back in Georgia, you're just woods hunting.
Yeah.
So watching the deer come out in the alfalfa fields is something you could only dream of. I mean, you could never see stuff
You guys
like
are
that.
dense down
Yeah.
in
It's
Georgia.
hard to explain it today still.
Yeah.
Like I think the first year I was supposed to go out there, I was maybe 13 or 14 years old. And that year is when they had the big EHD die-off out there. And 90% of the deer got killed.
Yep.
And that's what ruined it?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what ruined it.
I
I mean,
didn't know
90% of the
I think
deer
it was bad EHD, and if you ever went out there and saw it, you would understand it's very confined.
Right. All the deer were there.
I
they're
thought
in
it
the
was
river
way
bottom.
bigger than
too.
what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah,
And when
maybe,
I got there, I was
maybe
like,
a couple
it's that
miles
field.
wide in some areas of the river, so they're all confined to the river.
Right.
So it's like when a EHD outbreak happens like that, it can
It's pocketed.
It takes everyone out.
And then I think on top of that, it was a real bad winter kill. So basically everything that was left, it kind of
Wiped
So I think it was basically unhuntable for 7 or 8 years until the population started building back up.
Is it back up now?
So it's okay. It's never going to be what it was,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's probably,
That's sad.
tell me if I'm wrong, 60, 70% of what it was.
Yeah, and I obviously am judging by seeing what I saw on video, but yeah, I mean, hearing the stories from your dad and everybody, it's not
No comparison.
no comparison. It probably will never be what it once was, but it's still really good. And
Yeah.
it's I mean, true like scouting. Like we don't even use trail cameras up there. It's just getting on top of the hills and seeing the way the deer
Glassing
move off the
whitetails.
fields and then moving in and
Be awesome.
hanging stands. It's just the ultimate whitetail hunting experience. I mean, you just can't imagine it until you see it.
I've never experienced anything like that anywhere else in the country.
And
When I wake up,
and typically not the biggest deer in the country,
No.
but just good hunting.
quality. And
you
just
go up
good
top
hunting.
and you see those deer leave those alfalfa fields, and you can typically, from the top of that rock, which was a dream just to be up there watching it all this time on the videos growing up, but being like, I'm going to go hang a stand within 100 yards of where that deer was. And typically, that deer is going to come right by there. He's going to do exactly what he did going back to bed that morning, coming back to the alfalfa in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can almost kind of predict them like clockwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way different than what, being where we're from. Even
Totally
probably up here.
Totally unpredictable in Georgia.
Totally unpredictable at home. But it just makes it so unique and fun. And that's just, Man, it was a
Yeah,
blessing
my
getting to
best
hunt.
memory by far. I mean, if I didn't ever get to hunt again for Realtree or anything, man, I'm set. Like it was just the ultimate dream come true to hunt at the Milk River. So that's just my.
Well, I mean, now I'm just thinking. I didn't realize how crazy it was. Like I said earlier, it's like you had guys from Iowa and Illinois wanting to go to Montana and hunt whitetail.
Dude, I want to go there so bad.
You know, it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know. It's neat. But yeah, I remember that. I remember watching your old man shoot deer with the muzzleloader off that alfalfa field. Like I remember those. That's what we did. We watched that stuff. And honestly, I've referenced like monster bucks. You get to see so many deer back to back for a new hunter. Like binge watch those. You kind of can pull a lot from it from like deer body behavior and shots. Like you see every type of shot in those videos, and it's back to back to back. I know some of them are condensed because you're showing 23 hunts or whatever in a video. But if you want to see a lot of deer get shot and how a lot of deer react after a shot, it's pretty good.
And like you said, that probably shows our age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we the oldest ones in here?
Eric's older.
No, I'm older.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'll be 35
Not much older.
Yeah.
in March.
Yeah.
Next month.
The old fart.
What day?
That shows our
14th.
age.
I'm the 6th.
You know, it's
33.
all right. We're not old, all right, but I'll tell you.
I'm just the old one here.
I'll tell you this: when Jordan's around at 20, 21, he started with us when he was 20.
When you feel old.
There is times where I'm like, "Are we old?" Like, do you look at us?
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, you're not old, but we're
Mary's-
cool, right?
Barry said the other day.
When we talk about binge watching cassette tapes when you were 10 years old.
Right.
Right? Yeah,
You feel kinda old.
He was born in 2003.
He was 11 when the podcast started.
I
That's
killed.
insane.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
That's when it
That's
hits you like, oh shit.
Jordan was 11 when we started this.
I didn't even think about it that way.
That's wrong. That's messed up. Wow.
Yeah, hey Kurt, we're old.
That is weird.
We need to fire him. Can't have that.
At least y'all don't, at least y'all don't have this gray popping.
Oh,
up,
I'm getting there.
I see it on the side
It's
a little
getting
bit,
there.
but it's
It's
hitting,
coming in.
It's hitting me quick.
You just got to rock it.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of.
I'm
giving
embracing
up.
it. My hair's
Yeah.
going great.
That's called
too.
kids.
Yeah.
It's called kids.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's called kids.
I just want to point something out, Tyler. You could hold your weight with the mustache next to this guy.
You
right
could.
here.
I really
No, I've
can't.
tried.
got-
I've tried to get
What?
them to do
I've
it.
tried to do it.
It's
Dude,
there.
you have the shadow. You got the height.
It just doesn't get the thickness.
Oh, really?
I can't
You
get. I've
did
tried.
you
it.
did the goatee for like.
I did the goatee for a while.
day.
My wife was like, "You need to stop."
You need to stop that.
When your wife calls you out.
It's over.
I'm just saying. I think you could rock a thick Dale.
Dude, I try to get them to do the facial
I've
hair
had a lot of
thing.
people try to get me to do
It's
it.
more of a
but
neared.
I can have a bad neared.
a neared.
Yeah, neck beard.
Neck beard.
A near beard.
Good old-
Your beard.
That's up Lee's alley all day.
Yeah, our buddy Lee can only grow. So
That's it.
we had this, our whole thing, like we get kind of superstitious with facial hair, and things weren't really going my way at first, whitetail season here. So I had a Brittany 2006 moment where I just went into my bathroom and I was like, and just shaved my beard off. And then,
Two razors going.
and then after I did it, I was like, no. And then I killed two giants back to back. And then everyone else is like, all right. So Lee was struggling. I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, it's in it. I was like, go straight neck beard. And he shaved everything but his neck. It was so dirty.
It was disgusting.
And went and shot a deer.
Dude, I could not do that.
And
Like the little Amish deal, just the.
But worse.
No. Like here.
Oh,
just
like the
Just
neck.
this.
the bottom of his chin.
Yeah. Okay.
just 100%
Neck.
trailer trash. Which, love that, and it worked for him.
Sometimes you got to change it up for sure.
That's it. Doug. All right, let's talk about Doug real quick.
I committed.
Dude, I wish I could do it.
And it didn't work.
That's solid.
The mustache is a tough move.
Right.
So Doug didn't kill a buck at home because he wouldn't shave.
I
I
refuse.
said you got to make a sacrifice. He wouldn't do it.
I killed a buck in Texas though. Didn't
I
shave.
think the most impressive thing is just the height that you.
Yeah, I know.
That's some height.
The crazy thing about Doug is he'd rather get a tattoo on his rear end than shave his mustache.
That's a fact that happened.
Really?
I literally have a tattoo on my ass.
I do too.
So I wouldn't shave. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I really do.
Does it say Team Realtree?
No, it's a pretty lame story, but
I'm on the team.
I want to be on the team.
Can you tell it the story?
Yeah, I mean, my buddy Austin Dillon, NASCAR driver, won the Daytona 500, and he got the whole team and sponsors that wanted it, and asked hat number 3.
That's pretty cool.
So I got
That is
a
pretty
Earnhart, Austin Dillon, number 3 on my ass.
All right, that's way
cool.
cooler than yours.
If nobody thinks it's cool but y'all. That's great.
That's actually acceptable.
Hey,
If you're gonna get it,
That's pretty sick.
Pretty sick. You got to remember, I mean, dude, my mom cries herself to sleep nightly. It's a rough go at the guy or mother's household. She's like, hands are tattooed, says dumb stuff on the internet for a living. It's a tough gig for my mom.
She's going through it.
She's proud. Though.
Bless her heart.
She's proud. When I came home one day and I had my knuckles done, and she cried, and I was like, "Sorry, Mom, it's just what it is."
I can't take them back.
I can't take them back. She loves me. But anyway, dude, you killed some studs lately, and
Killed one last year, but if you're going to kill one, maybe that'd probably be the one.
right,
Yeah.
But I can think of several deer you've killed over the last few years, but this one in particular, we have pulled up in the studio on the monitor, and it's.
Yeah, so this one's from Georgia.
Oh, I thought this was your other one. So that's how mixed up I am.
All good.
Let's talk about this one too, though. I thought this was your big one from this last year.
Nuh-uh.
See, that's how screwed up I am. You've killed too many big deer.
That was from
no, that's just one of my few smaller ones.
Yeah,
that's
one you're actually talking
that was
about.
one from 2021.
How big's this buck?
He was 189.
Dude, that deer looks way bigger than 189.
Yeah.
With all due
So-
respect.
It says in the post 186, but we don't know how to measure.
Well, we scored him that night at one, but I had him officially measured. He grossed 189. But yeah, awesome hunt. That deer, actually, we had history with him from the year before. Had him August, September, and then October 3rd. He was a good bit smaller. I mean, he probably put on 25, 30 inches in 1 year. But October 3rd was the very last trail cam picture we had of that buck, and we were not planning to hunt him that year anyway. But come to find out, next year, he kind of hung around the same area. I think I shot that deer like September 23rd. It was somewhere around that time. And then
Was it that late?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was.
No, I think it
it was around the 13th, 14th. No, I think you're right because it was right before an elk hunt.
We had the
We went
eight-pointer.
right before the elk hunt.
Because we hunted that spot probably 3 or 4 times before we were able to get him. But
That deer was a consistent deer, and he was, which typically Georgia deer don't really get consistent. And so
Why is that? Just with the density of the area, or like what's just?
I don't know. It's just in their friggin' DNA to
I've
be
always
unpredictable.
I felt like
I got to move around.
yeah, that's how I got.
Everything looks the same.
I think when we have success the most, you may disagree, but I mean, you had great success in the rut this year, but I like early season hunting.
100%.
They're just
100%.
a little bit more on a pattern than any other time. And come to find out, so if he had stayed on his same deal from the year before, that deer went like 6 miles to a neighbor. So when we had him from the year before, had a few pictures, the neighbor had him for like the whole rest of the year.
Wow.
So, we may have only had another week maybe to hunt that deer if he did the same thing again. So
So I think we hunted him opening day.
we did.
We hunted him opening day, didn't see him, and then we hunted him the second day of the season, didn't see him.
Didn't see him.
And then that was kind of strange that he had been every day, and then he just
wasn't
dropped
there.
off. And so I think we backed out, and come to find out, he was over 2 miles away on the neighbor during that time.
Yeah.
So whether we pushed him over there, whether it was just kind of his natural tendency, but it's interesting. And then I think we just laid out of the area. Just we let it rest, and then he kind of came back and got on a pattern, and we played the weather. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
In Georgia, you have to capitalize on good conditions.
Right.
And that's what we did.
And so we had like in September, I remember the weather, which is cool at the time, but it was like low 80s, north wind. And I think something else too we experienced early season is the wind swirls.
Swirling winds.
And an east wind, if it's anything east, it's going to go every which way.
Do you guys get a lot of east winds?
Yeah.
Ton of east winds.
That's probably like the predominant wind that we get all season.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Because we had more east winds this fall than
East stands for everything. Everything went.
Yeah.
Because
it does.
We west and northwest is what we get a lot, but we had a lot of east winds
Yeah, we did.
this fall.
We get a ton of east wind. I would say it's the predominant wind that we typically.
We don't get it very. I mean, this last year we got a lot, but before that, you don't. It was kind of a
Hardly ever.
hardly ever.
You don't put
get
a
an east
stand up. You don't set a stand up for east wind usually.
If you
Right.
do, it's just because you got the spot for it. But anyway,
Yeah. So it was, and that's by far the biggest deer that we've had on the property. So I think we've had that land. Dad's had that land since 2001. And so we've never seen anything quite like
We
that.
always
We've had
typically try to undershoot the score.
Yeah.
So that way, when it actually gets officially scored, it's like, oh, okay, he's bigger than we thought.
Yeah, right. That's a good play. Anytime a deer is anything 70 and better, and all his inches are vertical inches like that, you got a specimen on your hand.
That G2 is
Yeah,
wild.
the G2's cool. I love it. And just the inline point too. And for whatever reason, like we have a genetic on our farm where we even had 2 deer this year that have that same inline point. That's been a common trait for, I don't know, probably 15 years now on our place, just with not with deer quite that caliber, but just with different deer.
Right. So,
Those beams are never ending.
Couple pretty substantial deer with split G2s, and then that inner beam is cool.
I'll take them inline points all damn day. Well, I legitimately thought I was pulling up your
There he
biggest
is.
one. This deer right here?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
crazy.
Jeez.
Never seen it. So we actually just had the deer officially scored yesterday.
Really?
So, yep. And I don't.
It was after is it a 50 or 60 day drying period?
We're so bad at adding.
I'm gonna puke.
I'm looking at the gross.
I'm gonna throw up.
So we've had this lease down in Louisiana since 2000, and we've tried really hard to manage it, and we don't really do we protein feed year round on our farm in Georgia. For whatever reason, I think just the soil, it's so fertile down there. We're really close to the Mississippi River where we are in Lardo. It's just they have a lot of natural plants, vegetation, really good nutrition. All that's really natural. I think even it's a duck operation down there at Honey Break where we lease this place, and deer hunting is not a priority for them. So they just naturally have big deer.
Yeah, pretty natural deal. No protein feed, very minimal food plots.
Really? Because
it's just rich nutrients in the soil. Like we pulled
black
up
dirt down there.
Yeah, we pulled up an article today. So where the Honey Break Lodge sits is on Lardo Lake, which is actually used to be the Mississippi River, and so obviously the channel changes over the years.
Yep.
So now it's like 15 miles away. But yeah, so all that fertile farm ground used to be just open ag land. And so they convert it to what's called WRP, and I think it stands for Wetland Reserve Program, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it's like CRP basically, but it's they basically take open ag fields and convert it to they basically hand plant oak trees. So various types of oak trees. And if you can imagine, if you've ever been to South Texas, that's what it's like. It's like thick underbrush, like it's unbelievably thick. So they have everywhere to hide.
Right. Okay.
And so you just can imagine those open fields converted into, thickets.
Right.
I mean, the whole place is a thicket, and you basically have kind of senderos, which are roads that you hunt on, and occasional wildlife openings you convert to food plots.
Right. Right.
So, but there's no protein feed. It's just pretty natural native deer. I mean, it's incredible.
Not a lot of trees to bow hunt. We've tried to bow hunt in that place. There's maybe so it's 14,000 acres, and there's probably half of that is huntable for whitetail. The rest of it, they do a lot for waterfowl.
Yeah, most of it's underwater.
Yeah, most of it's underwater. So we've tried to hang some stands in different spots. It's just really hard. The trees don't have the cover.
Yeah,
so it's really difficult. So we've done some ground blinds, and that's been okay. If you've seen the video, we actually had this deer. Which we were going in there for a different deer, like a 140-inch 8 stud. But we were going in there for that deer. And this deer had been on this camera, but he'd also been on like 4 other cameras. So, he was always during the middle of the night. You're like, well, no way we'll see this buck.
So in the meantime, you were basically obsessed with this massive 8-pointer.
I love a big 8.
That's the deer you were hunting.
Danny will tell you.
Really, I mean, this is a multi-year process of you hunting this really big 8-pointer. And so that's been your focus. Yeah. And so I think it was maybe like, how many days did you say? I mean,
So I probably have, and still we're not going to probably kill this deer ever, but I probably have like 27, 28 days in this deer total.
Jeez.
And
so I think
I was kind of obsessive a little bit. I obviously love this deer, but I feel like probably like most people, I get so hung up on a deer, I just want to see it through. And so I just have like this deer on my mind. So we're going, and Brian even told me, he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And potentially, if he comes in there, I'm like, dude, this deer's he's nowhere close to daylight anyway.
Because at the time we had never had a daylight picture.
Never had a daylight picture
of this deer.
It had always been at like between 11.
So you had kind of gotten off of the big 8 because he's just given us so much trouble. He's just impossible. And so you were like, man, and you got the new Hoyt. You got the new Hoyt RX-9. You're like, dude, I got to break this thing in on something.
Yeah.
And so we moved to a spot that had just a real nice 8-point that was pretty regular. And so I'll let you tell it.
No, I mean, you're right. So we went in this spot, went to Academy, put up a ground blind. I think we hunted it maybe the next day.
So you and Rigsby had set it up.
Oh, that's right. You weren't with me on the.
You and Rigsby had set
the
ground blind up the trip before.
We had set that's right. We had set the ground blind up the trip before. Brian and I went out there, a week later?
Yeah.
I think. And then we decided
trying to just bow kill this pretty good 8-pointer just to get something, get some blood on the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kill something so bad. I had not killed a deer with my bow, or I haven't killed a deer yet so far at this point in the season.
I love that though.
You got that itch.
I
You just
relate.
scratch it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I relate.
I mean, a little not good, like kind of obsessive in a bad way.
You're getting mad at him.
Yeah. So we went in there not thinking anything about this whitetail. And then I think he came in the field probably 2 to 3 minutes before legal shooting light.
It was funny because I look up and see a deer and I'm like, that's a pretty friggin' big deer. And then I say, give me your binoculars. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's freaking him.
There he is.
And so we're like Googling what's sunset time to see if we're still legal. And so, sure enough, it was like he stepped in like 2 minutes after the legal light. So, I mean,
and by the time he got to us at 25 yards, he's, 7 minutes past now.
Yeah. And the camera doesn't do it justice. The camera looks like it's plenty good daylight, but it's just, good cameras and good lenses. So it looks plenty good daylight, but we didn't obviously want to do the wrong thing in this really.
You would never do it. But on a deer like that, it's just
makes you want to do it.
And so
rips your heart out.
Kind of makes you want to do it.
And so
those are my words, not Tyler.
I'm not sure what had happened. But the deer, I think
he's 20 yards.
He's 20 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna blow this deer. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's either the camera light, it's us moving in there, not sure, but the deer blows twice, runs off, and I'm like, maybe not a big deal, right? Maybe it's gonna be okay.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. He'll be back.
We're gonna be all right. This is where
it's
he likes
honey
to
break.
be.
Yeah,
it's honey
not
break.
a big deal.
So he disappeared for about 2.5, 3 weeks, and then he showed up on a camera. I don't know, probably 2.5, 3 miles away from where we were hunting, somewhere where we don't have a blind or anything.
Yeah.
So we went back there. That would have been November 8th, I think, is when we saw him. And
you ended up killing him on December 5th.
Yep. And so we had picked him up on this new camera. He got relatively consistent, still not one single daylight picture. But I knew where he was, like we're likely going to have to rifle hunt this spot, kind of close to where the property line was. And just didn't want to see something like that mess up again. We looked in there for a spot to hang a stand for a bow set up, and it didn't feel right. And so we were in Georgia, kind of playing the weather. Had a 25 mile an hour wind day. The next day, the temperature was going to get really cold at that time. I think the high was like in the low 40s. Dramatic for down there. And I'm like, man, let's just go set up a blind. Let's go in there and do kind of like just put it up and hunt it that afternoon. And sure enough, 15 minutes before dark, this deer steps out. So,
yeah.
And I didn't give him much time.
I wouldn't. Dude, this photo that we have pulled up on the monitor, it's like the most insane
it's crazy
photo. Yeah.
And it's funny, like you probably don't want to go through all the comments, but man, people get crazy with this big deer stuff. Like the first one that people always gravitate to is high fence.
Oh, right.
They say high fence.
Yeah. That's cheap,
then
though, now.
Farm raised deer, all this crazy stuff, but it couldn't be further. I mean, we were actually really nervous from where this deer moved to because he wasn't far from a property line.
Oh, really?
And we knew of some neighbors that were claiming that they had some, what they say, world-class deer on trail camera. So we're thinking, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Before you posted this deer for the interwebs, were you like, all right, chaos is about to ensue?
Oh, dude. Well, when the deer fell, I think the first thing I said to Brian was, well, we're about to catch it. We're going to catch it on this one. So, I really don't do a whole lot. I know that it looks the opposite on here, but like we didn't lease this land thinking we're going to have a world-class whitetail that we're going to have a chance to hunt.
Right.
There was no potential of that in our mind on this place. I just knew for somewhere in the southeast, we had a lot of really good deer to hunt and a place that we could take people and hopefully have a really good time. So I think it really didn't hit. I think he was the first one to say it. Like when we went in there that afternoon, he's like, man, we're about to probably hunt the biggest deer that we'll ever have a chance to hunt. And I'm like, you're probably right. So yeah, I think the social media reaction to it, while a lot of it very positive, it was a little overwhelming.
Oh, I'm sure.
For me.
Yeah, mostly positive.
It was mostly great. It was just, it was just a lot more.
A lot of D-bags out there, man.
Yeah, it was just a lot more than I thought. It just caught, it just caught a lot of attention. So I would like to think it was all good, but
Well, Doug liked it, so it was good.
Loved it.
And once like Doug, there he is.
You know what makes me so mad is that this deer, because you have on there gross 203.
So we just got the deal back yesterday. He actually just got scored yesterday. So we suck at adding, but he actually scored 213.
You're 10 inches off.
He gross, we're 10 inches off.
The hell?
Did you miss a time?
That being said,
You celebrate too much?
Oh yeah, the G4s.
Did you miss a tie?
so you can imagine at the skin and shed with everybody involved with,
The pressure.
a few adult
It was a little bit
beverages-
of a circus.
A few adult beverages being had, and at
The raculator came out.
We scored it with a raculator. Like so,
You did score the
Yeah, they
raculator?
scored it with a raculator. And I think somebody else came in, like one of Drew Keith's buddies, the next day or
They hit
whatever.
it with trophy tape. They're
Yeah,
like,
hit it
man.
with trophy tape, and this is confirmed.
Well,
It's confirmed, boys.
It was crazy. Like
panel.
he had it at 205 or 206. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, close enough, right? But no, like it just officially came back, gross 213.
Congrats.
So,
But you know what?
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
well, thank you.
Awesome.
It was cool. Like, man, I really do mean this. I feel like that deer was really not about me or anything. Just really cool to be able to take a deer like that from the Southeast. I realize how special and rare of an opportunity that is, and I'll never get it again. Just thankful that I could even when we saw him with a bow that day, I told Brian, I was like, just the fact we saw that at 20 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, we'll never see a deer like that ever again. And I appreciate just how the fact of like how rare that is in whitetail hunting.
Isn't that the state record typical?
So he's a state record typical. So he netted 194. And so the record, which I'll tell you what's even crazier.
Typical.
So the record
Which is
was
crazier.
The record was 184 before this, and in the same year, you can probably go find this, but this just happened at the end of January. The non-typical state record was just killed.
Wow.
So
Same year.
5 miles apparently, I think, from where this deer was killed.
Wow.
Drew
Neighbor.
Keith 5 miles.
Yeah, Drew said he's within 5 miles, so I'm not
Could
really.
be 25.
But it's in
It's close.
It's in
Same
Catahoula
parish.
Parish, same
Yeah.
parish. So the non-typical and the typical, came out of the same year in the same county. So we
I think the coolest thing for me is like, you can only imagine what it would be like what your emotions would be like if you killed a state, like you knew you're hunting a deer of this caliber.
You're right.
I mean, who knows how you, like, I don't know how I would act, but it's like for Tyler, it's cool because it's like just pure appreciation. Like it's not,
Yeah.
it's not acting crazy. Like it's total appreciation and, thankfulness. And so it's,
I don't even know what my emotions would be seeing that thing on the hoof.
I don't know either.
Dude,
You
at,
know,
20,
it's-
at 20 yards, like knowing that it's past shooting light, I mean, just shaking, heartbeat. And
yeah.
God bless you for that.
I mean,
That's-
how big something like that looks at 20 yards, it's insane.
Looks like a moose out there.
A deer that goes that big typical for somebody that's never held one or seen one, like our buddy Cole Jagger killed like a gross high 90s typical buck. And it almost like if someone was like mold a fake buck out of clay that looks ridiculous. That's when you get a typical that big, that's how they look. Like my buck is big and scores big, but it's kickers and stickers. You take typical and you put every inch in vertical points and beams. It's different. It's almost, it's not really even the same animal. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it. Yeah.
It's like you get a clean typical that goes 170.
Yeah.
You have a special animal.
Yeah.
All right. You hit 80. What? You hit 90s. What?
Yeah.
You hit 2 mark as a typical. Insane.
Well, even Cole's buck, holding in person, you're like, is this thing real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, holy smokes, this is insane.
Seems made up.
It does.
Yeah, it was wild. It was cool, and so I think that the non-typical, y'all need to go see it. But just a crazy deer.
Is it close to 300?
No, I
Is
thought
it
it's 268. I think is what I heard. But again, not officially scored. Hopefully they didn't miss like we did.
Louisiana.
But what's crazy, I believe that both those records have held up since the 30s and 40s. So I mean, it's just
Oh yeah, 1939 was the 186.
Hey, look at that guy.
Oh, there you are.
I just figured it would pull up. Is this it?
No.
Type in non-typical.
And I don't know the guy's name. I'm not sure. It kind of
13. I cannot believe that.
Typical.
don't see it right there.
Again. Was that a crossbow kill?
No.
That's 21.
No, he shot it with a rifle, I'm pretty sure.
No, that's not it.
I have the picture on my phone.
Tyler Jordan. There you
go. Louisiana state record non-typical whitetail 281.
So I think it was 268 is what he non-typical record. It was 281.
Right.
That's 281 in 1994.
AI, definitely reliable.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Look at that.
In 2020, there was two.
Doesn't
275.
No, you killed it 5 years ago. We're just
They got it mixed up. AI.
No, you did kill a 190 there in 2020.
Yeah. So we think that's his dad.
That's not it?
It's not.
No, that can't be
I
it.
don't know. It's not it.
There's
The picture, which is crazy, it was all over social media probably here just a week or two ago.
You can't remember the guy's name?
No, I don't. Let's see if I can. Which I know this doesn't help, but I have the picture of it.
Yeah, I mean, oh well, it's all good. No, everyone listening.
But this is
can't
what
see
he
our monitor anyway. But
this is him.
My goodness.
Holy smokes!
Oh wow, yeah, big frame,
world class, obviously.
See, I like big frame deer, like width and height. Always get the awe, like, and that's I've had a lot of people be like, "Your deer's not that big." I'm like, "All right, don't believe it, then it's fine." But you know, congratulations.
Well, thanks.
Hard transition. I forgot to do this earlier. We got you a bottle, Kill Bottle whiskey.
I was going to ask
It's our
about it.
whiskey. Yeah. There you go. I seen that bottle sitting there. I give it to you now on air, but before we forget, but there's
Sweet.
the whiskey.
I won't forget it.
Yeah. All right. We'll put it there. I don't want to put it in front of you there and make some awkwardness for you. But yeah. So next time you kill a state record, you have to have a drink of that in celebration.
I will do it.
Responsible
On your
celebration.
I will do
Next
it.
state record.
Yeah, dude. So
That'll never happen.
I mean, weirder shit's happen.
And never say never.
I mean, put yourself.
That'll never happen again.
Right.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I've I know a lot of people that have hunted a long time that have never had a chance or never seen anything like that. And the fact, like, I would have thought my biggest deer would for sure come from the Midwest, and the fact it came from Louisiana.
Yeah, those are
just kind of crazy.
Those are Midwest deer. Those are big body, huge.
Yeah.
Midwest deer there in Louisiana.
What are you guys big taxidermy guys in general? Like, are you shoulder mounting every deer you kill? Like, what's your setup like? What's your display?
So my deer kind of a little bit spread out. So at our farm in Georgia, we have 2 different buildings. We call it our media center. A lot of it's my dad's mounts. He'll have sections of deer he's killed in Texas, Montana, Wyoming. Some elk are in there. And so I would say some of my bigger Georgia deer are kind of lumped into his in the media center. And then we have a Georgia wall with my sister, my brother. We have some really good deer in there. And then we have another room. We call it just like the kind of the NASCAR barn. We have a Dale Earnhardt race car. We have a Kyle Busch truck that we did with him last year. But anyway, we have our walls are full of just Dad's old whitetail in there. And so I got several whitetails in there mixed in. And then at home, I have a little office, not near as cool as this, but with about 10 whitetails in it.
Nice. Okay.
So
Is that mule deer at your house?
The mule deer's at my house. Yeah.
Big velvet.
And I've really gotten into just probably more so because of the room until I can, build a house somewhere. But I just love European mounts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
they're classy.
Yeah.
My big deer from Montana, kind of heavy mass. Brian was on that one too, but I just love being able to pick that thing up and pass it around and be able to take it downstairs and be able to show my buddies. And
that's the cool thing about Euro mounts.
True.
I've gotten big on Euro mounts, and what's crazy as this sounds, I'm going to end up probably doing a full body on this.
Oh yeah.
But like there was part of me that was like, man, what if I kept just this one just to hold it and take it around? But I think I'm getting a replica made.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about technology with this stuff. It's like, because it's hard for me not to like. I want to have everything here so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
But I want to also enjoy it at home, and sometimes you can get a replica made. So I did the Geyer book.
Yeah.
My dad's a big buck, and so. But yeah, I get it. Like, what if I Euroed everything? But then I'm always like, oh man, I wanted the cake.
Yeah.
You know, Josh's.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah. So are you a big
I don't shoot enough deer though, so it doesn't matter.
Well, Lee's a big taxidermy guy, but Lee's not. I like to kill stuff. Kind of like you said earlier. Like I want to shoot animals. Like Lee doesn't need to shoot. Or our Lee, her.
Arlie.
Well, he's got a different Lee. His Lee's way cooler than ours.
Right.
But it's you know what I'm saying though. Like I like to shoot animals, and I like taxidermy, and I like a lot of it. And we have a lot of small deer. I have a lot of small deer mounted from when I was younger. You know, and now I look back and it's kind of funny, but I put them in the kids' rooms and stuff like that.
I was the same way though. I would say the first, like until I was, I don't know, maybe 20, I felt like everything had to be mounted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it didn't really matter the size. Like 130-inch deer, 140-inch deer, I was like, I got to get it mounted.
Mm-hmm.
I got to catch up. Like,
Yeah.
Now I'm like, what do I do with this?
Yeah. So I always ask that question, like, all right, when you pass away,
Yeah.
what happens if you don't have the setup? Now you guys have like this legacy and the compound, right? So that's probably saves you guys for that. But it's like if you didn't have it, and it's like, all right, your dad's, yours, and then your kids, and they're like, what do I do with this much taxidermy?
Yeah. So Dad has already told me. He's already talked to me about this. He's like, man, you need to be able to donate or find a way to like give some of these heads away. Maybe you give it to a conservation group and they auction some of the bigger ones off. Maybe we'll do that at some point, you know, when that day comes. But like, there's definitely some mounts of his though that I really want to hang on to.
Totally,
like his last deer that he killed on the Milk River. It's got a drop tine on it. Really awesome deer. He still had velvet like coming off the drop, and like there's some deer like that that just have to be kept.
Yeah, totally.
And even like I have a cool mount. It's actually not hanging up anywhere. I was thinking about putting it like in a podcast studio or somewhere. But the last deer that he shot with his dad. So like I have that deer mount. I don't even think I've told you that, but it's at his house. And so like there's some sentimental ones that like we'll
sure.
definitely find a place, you know, to keep those forever.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about man caves and like having a studio or having a place. It's like, I don't know. I joked around earlier when you and I were like hanging stuff. I was like, for some reason, blank tables and blank walls, I'm mad at those. And I have to.
Yeah, he's up here hanging up posters and stuff.
Dude,
I'm like, oh,
I'm mad at him. I'm mad at blank wall. Like, oh, dude, if this table, if this was at my house, there'd be shit all over it for no reason.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
I can see that in here.
Yeah.
Right. Like even in this whole studio, I feel like there's no space on anything, but I think that's awesome.
I like the eclecticness of it.
Yeah.
Like I like.
Feels full.
It feels full, and it's so unnecessary, maybe cluttered to some people, but like the memorabilia of it to me is neat. Like if we get something from someone and it's signed and it's cool to put it on there. That's why I like
just stories.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
what it is, man.
Like, look at our bathroom. I don't think you can see any drywall in there.
There's zero.
Yeah, I just got art and signage and stuff from shows we've done, and just kind of fun. To me, it's like, I think it's cool when someone comes in, they're like, oh yeah, that's like this. There might be a super insignificant poster, but it's like, oh yeah, we did a live podcast at Indiana Deer Turkey Waterfowl Show in 2001 or 2021 or whatever the hell year, you know. In 30 years, it might be really neat to have all that stuff.
Yeah.
But goddamn, is it annoying right now? But you know, like kind of like I want to vac seal all my old childhood camo that I have now, just different products and hats. Because when my son's older, in 30 years, he might be like treasure trove. Like this stuff's all really cool. I don't know.
He'll take it to a trade show and sell it.
Yeah, he'll make a fortune.
Where'd you find all this?
So, I don't know. I think about that stuff a lot, I guess.
Yeah, I do too. Like even some of the deer heads that are in there that have, you know, been on monster bucks through the years, like some of those I feel like I should remember like what volume and stuff, but then we'll have guests that come to the farm and it amazes me. Like some people will be able to point to the deer and go, you know, he was volume 2 was, you know, Realtree Monster Bucks 10. And I'm like, man, I wish, like, even though I've been really good here lately of collecting like old stuff and, you know, hanging on to some of those memories, yeah, I wish I can go like underneath each deer and like put, you know, exactly for the year, the Monster Bucks video that it came from, just to kind of document all that.
Yeah.
Just a lot of work. to go through some of that.
Taxidermy in my house is a very hot topic right now because I'm like probably everyone here. I have these dreams and aspirations of this epic man cave and you know, a little archery shop over here and everything, and it's just not transpiring.
Yeah.
So it's like I got deer just on the floor and like spare bedrooms and like there's places that they can go that I don't want to hang them up because I don't want to give in to the fact that I'm not going to have this awesome man cave.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand that.
And
I
so,
do.
but yeah, I don't. My wife's not happy. We got a kid on the way, so I got to get my crap together.
You got to get off the ground.
I got to get it off the ground quick.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Go buy a Menards building. Throw that baby
exactly.
out.
Yeah, get it finished out and just rock with that for sure. But
See,
yeah,
I have this weird fantasy because I'm like this similar to what you're saying. Like my house is full at home and everything new comes here. But I always have this, like, I want all my collection to be together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm tempted to, like, empty my house and bring everything here where I can enjoy it every day with my friends and people that come in. But then that really changes the dynamic of, like, this wall, the red wall out here, screwed. Like, full. And then I have this weird fantasy of sometimes taking everything from here and seeing how it would fit in my house.
You would not have any room left.
Oh, I'd be screwed. But I have we have an unhealthy relationship with taxidermy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
We
the
just love
same
it too
way.
much.
Like I have it in 3 different places, but like my dream one day, like have you seen Pat Reeves's trophy room?
Oh, I haven't seen
Like I think
Pat's.
there was a video that was posted of his trophy room maybe like a month or 2 ago, but like every single elk,
I did
deer,
watch that,
mule deer, it's all in one room. And I'm like, man, that's what
I think
That's the dream.
I think Levi had a similar video he put out.
Levi, I think
I don't know if everything
it's like
he
all
has
in his living room. Like his video is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big old. Well, I think Nick did that too. Nick Bunt had like a machine shop built onto his house, kind of. Like,
Yep.
Just for his taxidermy.
I mean, that's kind of what you have to do. You see those guys with the big giant tech. You kind of have to build a pole barn.
You do.
Outfit it like a home and then attach it to
I think
the back of your house.
Nick's one of the bigger taxidermy freaks out there. I think he's really, really into taxidermy.
I want it all, but at what point are you like,
It's art.
we're going to fill this studio up?
oh yeah.
The studio is freaking awesome.
The studio's awesome.
Well, thank you.
I didn't realize coming here, that's the biggest thing. Like, you got some big deer on the wall, but I didn't realize I was going to have to call the bank and get a increase on my credit card limit from all the merch that you, you got a whole merch wall.
Yeah,
So I'm about to load up on some of that stuff before I leave.
We'll set you
Yeah,
up.
we'll say yeah.
Dude,
We'll set you up.
Yeah, it's
But-
awesome. This
But
place
that's
is cool.
the one thing cool about the studio too. Like I love the taxidermy at home, but like having it here and enjoying it with everyone that comes into the studio, it's like it makes it so much better.
It's
It's a wow
it's a
factor.
dream come true.
It is.
That's
You know,
what
everyone asks, like,
everybody
where'd that
wants.
deer
Yeah,
come
it's
from?
really
Where'd that
cool.
deer
People are
come?
asking like, "Oh, where'd this one come from?"
Yeah.
Like, at home, you wouldn't get that.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. It makes
You
me
just
want to
get
bring
my wife that never asked about it.
Same.
What's that?
I said you just get my wife that never asked about it.
Yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
her
another
to
one?
Get it out of there.
Yeah, she didn't give a fuck. She didn't want it there in the first
When
place.
that would go to the basement.
Yeah. See, I want to like bring some of mine here, but if I empty my house, it would be depressing because I could hear the echo when I talk in my house.
Because you can't have bare walls.
I can't.
Could you imagine Kurt with bare walls? No one wants
Can't do
that.
it. I mean, I don't know if you guys went into the bathroom on this side. It's like I set it up like a tattoo shop bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not 1 inch of just like blankness.
No, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's it's fun for the eye. Like, you know how hard it is to keep this with just, now we have 3 LED signs in the back of the wall?
This kills you, doesn't it? Like just having this a lot of.
Well, we
blank
only had
space.
one at one time. And then
Right.
we started slowly adding a couple
There
more.
was a conversation at one point in WCB history before we did the 3 uniform signs. We talked about loading. Well, we don't have the room, so that's what saved us. Loading this black wall up behind you guys, full of ridiculous amount of deer heads, to where it's just like
You wouldn't even be able to back up.
Yeah, just hit your head.
it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, and that's why it has stayed as clean as it has. Now, this did have way more mounts. This was full to the gills, but we had to get our light kits in here. Production kicked out some taxidermy.
So are all these y'all's?
So a lot of So some of these are my dad's deer.
Okay,
And then when my dad passed away, I obviously inherited all of his deer.
It's a lot of our firsts.
Yeah, that's this shoulder mount's a buck my dad shot. This is my first bow buck, Eric's first bow buck. This is my dad's like first rack buck that kind of like fired up the excitement for me and my dad. For me especially, I was like 10 when he shot that.
That's awesome.
So that's a lot of the first pivotal type deer in here.
Where everything kind of started.
And then yeah, I had my first buck, which I need to have you guys sign a hat in there. I got a Realtree Road Trips hat. I killed my first buck ever wearing. I had Waddy sign it.
Oh, let's go.
I need
That's
you guys
awesome.
to sign it.
That's cool.
And it sits on that mount. Like,
Was it the blue hat or is it camo hat?
oh, let me go
Like
get it.
the Will Hunt for Food hat?
Let me go get it. I
Go
have
get it.
He's got to show it to you now. Might as well grab a Sharpie too while you're out there signing on the podcast.
I'll be looking around.
There's a lot of Sharpies here, but we can never find them.
They're somewhere.
When
They
we
are.
talked about the podcast, like this is where, like now I really want to do a podcast for Realtree.
Yeah.
And just so I can have a
said-
cool studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said if this doesn't get you fired up, you probably should do a podcast.
Yeah.
This is cool.
This makes you really want to do it.
Yeah, and that's why we do. I mean, everyone now we do in person.
Look at
Yeah.
that thing.
Oh yeah.
Thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's legit. Mm-hmm. God, that brings back so much. Right?
Yep.
I've had that hat since I was...
That was probably 04.
04, yeah.
03, 04.
03. I think I had it in 03.
One of my favorite patterns.
Yeah. Or-
Yeah, that
God,
pattern is my childhood.
That was the one that me and Dad almost really got in a knockdown, drag out fight over when I was 10. And
this one?
he had our rifles dipped in the wrong camo pattern. That was a bad deal. Yeah.
But yeah, I killed my first buck ever.
That's
Just-
wild.
I'll show you the photo, man.
That's a
It's-
cool
it's-
keepsake.
It's pretty funny.
Where the
And
heck
wearing
did you
this hat?
find this? I mean, have you had this for all these years?
Yeah, I got that hat. Where the hell did I get it? It would have been Farm King or Walmart. Does that sound right? Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know if that hat was ever sold in Walmart, but Farm King probably
Farm
sounds
King
right.
probably. It sounds more right. I remember I saw it and I was always scared to ask my dad, like, "Hey, can I?" Can I buy that? Yeah. Where's that photo at?
That's cool.
Gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Look how big my ears were.
matching pants and jacket,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. There's my first deer ever.
Same pattern.
Hoyt.
Yeah.
Still got
Yeah.
that bow.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoyt
Let's
Ultra
go.
Sport, man.
I have that one.
I feel like that's the video that, or didn't Michael just do something with that Hoyt with T-Bone? Like
It was an
something like
Ultra
that.
Tech, I believe.
Gotcha.
So my first bow kill was with a Hoyt. It was with an X Tech. I think
X Tech was
I had got it for my 13th birthday.
the bow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a flagship unit,
Yeah.
too. Like,
yeah. It was
here, I got.
13th birthday.
Oh, there you go. There's my first bow buck. That's this deer right here.
Yep.
I had that.
Same hat?
Huh?
Is it the same hat backwards?
No, that was an old trucker hat. That was a Buckmaster's trucker. It was a vinyl or heat press print Buckmaster's trucker. But that's look at that crew neck. That's a Realtree HD crew neck. And I have the Wrangler denim Realtree
Yes.
jeans that you get at
Yes.
Walmart. I just
Oh,
wore
yeah.
denim camo.
Yes. Yes.
And you can't get them anymore at Walmart like you used to. You used to get the good
Those are
ones.
sick.
We got to bring it back.
Those are comfortable too.
Yeah, look how hilarious that is. There you go.
There's hardwoods. Yeah. Probably one of my favorite patterns.
AP? Or no, that's hardwoods.
That was I was 17 there. That was October 1st opening day. There's that crew still rocking the crew neck. I have that thing still.
Big hardwoods.
I was mad about that.
Yeah, I think I have
was
more
mad about
camo.
that safety harness, by the way. But yeah, that's there's the X Tech.
Yes. God, that brings back. I've been trying to find one for the longest time on eBay.
Yeah.
You can't find an X Tech, but you can. I found a couple, but it was like wrong draw length, wrong.
So
draw weight.
how old was I when I got that? I got it late, but I always wanted the X Tech. So I was 19 in this photo and killed that deer as a mature deer, but I had that X Tech and I I was so pumped to just have that bow.
What was the arrow and broadhead set up there? You remember?
At the time, yes, I do. At the time, they were Beeman ICS. Would that have been at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Beeman ICS with Muzzy MX3s.
Yeah, my first one I believe was Muzzy 4-blade, like a freaking dull one that I'd been practicing with. You know, just trying to get my stuff to shoot straight.
You know why I shot Muzzies? You guys were all shooting Muzzies. Like that was, I
got the Team Realtree hat on there.
Oh, it is
Old
there, huh?
school.
Yes, that is. But that wasn't the OG Team Realtree hat.
That was the
rebrand swirl.
That was the oval we started to do in like
scent lock jacket, scent lock. It was a big deal when it came out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Another Team Realtree. That's a different one.
No, it's the same hat.
Okay.
But that was my.
That's awesome.
So all these deer, close to here, obviously.
This was Fulton County, Illinois, so not terribly far, but not like real close. But yeah, well, there you go. There's my proof.
That's
of my,
really cool.
Heck yeah, man. That's
there's my old man.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's my Muzzy hat and all that. There's late Jim Burns. Yeah.
That was some OG.
Yep, there it is. That was the old school stuff.
Look at that.
I
want
want
that shirt.
I gotta see. I don't. I think I do. I gotta go through all our old hunting.
Extra. I mean, that would have been Hardwood's green.
That's
awesome.
I'll have to look and see, but
and pictures are the same way. But like what I love, and I heard Chris B talk about it on here with y'all, was just being able to go back in the archives. Like that's what's so awesome about all this.
Yeah.
Because I love going back and looking at old stuff of Michael and Dad and other folks, and just watching how production was done then. It's so fun having that history.
You remember the old archery tournaments during the Monster Bucks DVDs?
Dude,
that was the coolest.
That somehow needs to come back, dude.
Yeah, my favorite part of the DVDs by far.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's what made you feel like you were a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler,
yeah,
you got to figure that out.
We have to do something on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
no DVDs.
No more DVDs.
What do you mean?
That actually
Kurt needs your first collection.
That didn't end until just a couple years ago. We were still doing a few
we were
DVDs.
trying. Like some years we would take off, and are you talking about the archery tournament?
No, I'm talking about like the physical DVDs.
Yeah. So last year would have been the first year we did not offer the DVD. So
right,
it's been for
So I didn't even know that at the time. So I'm behind several years because I thought it was all digital or.
Yeah, so we were offering it's so funny. Like we were offering it for free on digital where you did not have to pay for it. But like for several years we were getting people to call in pissed because they're like, I want to buy the DVD. Like they were doing it for the collection.
Yeah.
Like you had some people that still collect them and they were like, man, I want to buy the DVD. And like there was some comments were like, I'm going to boycott Realtree if we don't get a DVD.
And then you got people that are pissed off because they bought the DVD and then they realize they can get it for free.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I got to go backtrack. I have to dig out my collection, get it all in order, and be like, all right, where's my Slack at? Because I don't have hard copies.
Yeah.
I need to make up the difference.
Yeah. We got to bring back the archery tournament.
We can do that.
Yeah,
that's fun to do it before every season.
That's got to happen. Well, so there you go. That's
wild.
Yeah, that's the old school stuff. Well, here, look at this one. This is one of my favorite photos of my dad and I.
There's original.
Yeah, that would have been 2016.
Yeah.
Because the only time we brought it back was for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, this is 2016.
And my dad was livid.
That's
just pissed.
We brought it back without him knowing.
Oh.
And he wasn't thrilled.
Well, I mean, I think I got that hoodie at Walmart.
Yeah, no, it was a Walmart hoodie.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
It was just a few places. Walmart, Scentlock had it. That was probably it. We did some hats in it, but yeah, that was all we had.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite photos of my dad and I with a deer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a cool story with that buck too.
What's the story?
He shot that deer the night before and on an acre of timber, like just isolated acre. Well, it ran out in this field. We got permission to go pursue it. We went back in and I'm like, well, he's not out in that field. There's another little acre of timber down there. He's got to be in there. There's like a fenced row and then that little patch. Well, I walked up in the patch. I could just see blood dump down into it. So I went and grabbed my dad. We went in, found him bedded and shot him again and took that photo. So
cool.
Just a good hunt. So
I'm talking about knocking them down.
I know.
That man's a killer.
Yeah. We
A lot of photos.
we bodied them up. Then I got gay for a while.
Don't look at that.
Don't look at that. Close your eyes. But yeah, man, we just
Been fun.
without shooting them. But dude, I don't know. It's cool, man. It's cool having you in here. Honestly,
It's awesome being
Yeah.
here.
Thanks for coming.
I've seen.
I appreciate you guys.
I've been a fan for a long time. And
Very long
Same.
time.
looked at you guys for you guys are pioneers of the hunting space of what it is today, and I think no one can argue that, and it's undeniable. And
Yeah.
I know you're humble, and you're not going to come on here and say that, but I'll do it for you. And it's incredible, man. And I wish you guys 50, 60, 100 more years of Realtree and legacy and what you're creating, because I think you can do it, and people respect it. So
I appreciate it. I hope the same thing. We're having this conversation multiple more times.
Yeah,
And the same thing for you
that.
guys. I mean, just what I love about this space is just like the Midwest Whitetail guys and just a bunch of people. Whether you wear Realtree or don't, it's just, man, we all have so much more in common than we do not.
totally.
And just love everybody that it's like the NWTF last week, getting to see a bunch of people that used to be kind of SHOT Show back in the day, but just like a reunion of seeing everybody in the space. And that's really the one time people kind of come together and see each other. And man, it's it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do this thing for many, many more years.
Yeah, totally. I hope podcasting lasts.
I think you're good.
I hope so
You'll
too.
be all right.
Well, it's crazy.
It'd be cool.
It all crashes in a year.
Well, it's an old form of media. It's radio, right? But it's just kind of repurposed for what it is now. The internet is, but I guess conversation never goes out of style.
Yeah.
Because we always got to have it. And when we quit having it, then there's a major problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Something bad happened.
Yeah, there's a major problem. But
Yeah, you guys got this thing figured out. This is awesome to be
I
a
think
part of.
we're just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some people they forget the baseline of like just having fun. And, there's a lot of business and we're all busy and there's a lot of work behind. But when we get in here, we just want to have a damn good time.
Yeah.
And we don't take ourselves too seriously. We all like to hunt and kill deer and do that thing. And we're just having a good time. And I think people that, they kind of lose track for what it just needs to be. And that's just what it is right now. Just like-minded people having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool to be a part of it. for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped you guys came out.
Yeah.
Josh, I'm
Really
glad you got to
appreciate it.
slide in. We're going to do it. We always close out with the round table, and I always start with Doug because he's always got just riveting closings.
Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
What a guy. That's all you got?
No, I've grew up on Realtree, love Realtree, and just keep killing it.
I appreciate it.
Good job, Doug.
Thank you.
That was good.
You want to close with anything, Tyler? Got anything else?
No, I just thank you guys so much. I mean, I really have, like, not just saying it. I've last several years have watched all y'all stuff. I mean, I'm a big podcast person in general, not just in the hunting space, but just really appreciate you guys and what you stand for, and just being authentic about who you are.
Thank you.
I would like to think that most people are like that in the space. I'm there's some that aren't, but it's refreshing when you have guys just being themselves, because this reminds me, like, this show, when I listen in, I feel like I'm talking to my friends, or I'm listening with my friends, just how it is at hunting camps that we're lucky to go to all over the place.
Yeah.
So we just appreciate what you guys put back into this industry.
Well, thank you, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Big compliment.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us on, man. It's such a cool thing to be a part of this. I'm not a big talker, but you guys are cool, man. You make it comfortable, and so it's an honor to be here, and we just thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thanks, man. Hopefully you come back. We'll come down and podcast with you guys, and we'll split the difference.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Be fun. Joshua,
Where do I start?
hold on. You survived episode 700.
I did survive.
You're a 700 veteran.
Yeah, I just find my way back here every.
We need to get you we need to get you a medal for your
A little pin.
Stewardship. Yeah.
yeah.
You got brought in to give us a ride to the airport in the
That was it.
That's the only reason why we called you.
Exactly.
I didn't know
It just
about
worked
that
out
for the record.
Yeah, it just worked out that way.
It's just a good thing you're a good friend.
Sure did.
Always, man. Where to start? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, always appreciate the friendships more than anything. I mean, met you guys through Midwest Whitetail, but today, you were talking about how much monster bucks meant to you, and I don't know if I've ever really shared this perspective with you, but monster bucks to me. So when I speak about my dad, it's my stepdad, right? And hunting was kind of the bridge between allowing us to get along, if that makes sense. It was your dad and you hunting that really, you know, inspired me to give it a chance. So to call you a friend today, you talk about a full circle. It's very strange. So
it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying not to get emotional because I just appreciate my dad so much, you know?
Yeah, totally.
No, I agree.
I don't think he realized what he was creating, you know?
Right.
Like an obsessive bow hunter.
Yeah.
But yeah, puts into perspective. It's happened a few times, you know, going to Georgia. You guys need to go to Realtree Farms. They always say they're not
welcome
that cool.
anytime.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going down there. I had a great time. I mean, it's
Didn't
a lot
see
cooler.
deer, but he loved it. And it's not because we gar hold him. I mean, right.
All right. Yeah.
It still bothers me.
Why'd you wink at me just now, Tyler?
Yeah, exactly. But it's just, yeah. So that's what I got.
No, it's cool. I think my dad would shit.
Yep.
Like if he could see this, or you know, maybe he can or whatever. But oh yeah, he'd be like, who's coming? You know what I mean? My dad would just be just
Ecstatic
about all this stuff. So it's cool, man. It's cool how it all kind of just works. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been an honor, man, having you guys down here, and you know, growing up as a Realtree family. It's just crazy that you guys are sitting here. So thank you.
Yeah, I think if anybody can prove it, these dudes are Realtree guys based on the photo archive. Yeah. That's some serious Realtree history. So it's
we weren't kissing
really
ass
cool.
just to kiss ass.
It's cool. It's
I've
cool to
listened
see.
to enough
That ain't
to know that
Photoshop.
y'all are,
Yeah.
you know, you followed for a long time. So it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You know, and you talk about family. I mean, like my dad is my best friend, and it goes beyond the business. You talk about hunting in the outdoors. You know, my brother and my sister, like I feel like we're all close because of what hunting has done.
Yeah.
You know, not just Realtree and the business side of it, like hunting in the outdoors has brought so many more people together. And to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I want to remember, you know, for a long time is what hunting, you know, did for me in that regard. So
Wouldn't be the same doing it 100% alone. It wouldn't be the same.
No.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys so much. I really do. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, watching, and listening. Episode 704, still crazy. 800 will probably pass away after that one, and but we're going to have fun getting to 800. Thank you so much. Go shoot your bow. We love you. Peace.